Hey, Kenneth Russell here. Today I'm going to make a video that might just change your life as a musician. What could it possibly be? It is how to wrap a cable. What? All right, now you might be thinking, this is ridiculous. I know how to wrap a cable. All you do is you wrap it up and you put it up on a hook or on a bag or whatever the case may be. Let me just tell you, after being involved in sound stuff for about 20 something years, I can tell you there is a definite proper way to wrap a cable. And I can thank the sound guy back at my church when I was like 14 or 15 years old who showed me how to wrap a cable. And I can confirm with you by living in Nashville and being around pros that do big sound stuff and like big stadium stuff, that this is how they wrap a cable also, and I'm going to teach you how to do it. So here we go. If you notice here, I just pulled this off of my hook of cables that I have on the wall. I have not done anything special to this. This is how I wrap it up every time. And I'm going to just take it right here and I'm going to undo the cable just like this. You can see that pretty much falls perfectly. There's no spirals, there's no coils, there's nothing wrong with it. What happens is a lot of times, if you do it wrong, this is the wrong way. I'll show you the wrong way. Here we go. If you take it and you just kind of wrap like this, which is what most people do, and then they just wrap again, and they wrap again, and they wrap again, and they wrap again, what ends up happening is you can see it. I don't know how well it's going to show up on the screen there, but you can see that that cable is starting to coil up. Now, if I were to take this guy and undo it, it's starting to kind of wobble there. Like this isn't a straight line there. It's starting to get a curve. Then the next time I pack it up and I go, all right, let me wrap this thing up again. I wrap it again. Eventually you start to get this thing happening as you've done it a bunch of times. And you've all seen cables like this. Usually they're in a gig bag. They're like in your guitar bag and they look like junk. And then people start to do other stuff and they start to, you know, kind of trying to finagle different ways to get it done, or they'll wrap it up like this and they'll think, well, if I do it smaller it'll be even better, and then that even makes it worse because then they undo this one, it's a big tangle like this. So what's happening with this is as you are wrapping it, you're wrapping it around and then you're wrapping it again, it's literally starting to twist the cable. And I'm going to zoom up on this and see if you can see this. You know, if I just start to twist this cable like this, over time, it's going to develop this spin in the cable, and it'll start to warp. You can even see it starting to kind of get like a hump thing happening here. Well, that over time is going to ruin the cable because you've got different wires inside here, and as you're spinning it, those wires get more and more tension on it, and your cable's eventually going to go bad. The solution to that is this. Instead of just wrapping it over and then over and then over, what you do, you have the connector facing towards you. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to put it in my left hand. Then I'm going to just naturally take the cable and put it over on top into my hand, creating a little loop like that. Now the next one, instead of just doing that same thing again, instead of me grabbing it like this and doing the same thing again, I'm going to grab it like I'm shaking hands upside down. Okay? So I'm going to grab it like I'm shaking hands upside down. I'm going to pull it towards me and then loop it inside. So the first one is just like normal. It's going to go over like this. The second one, I'm doing this handshake and I'm letting it touch the inside. So it almost looks counterintuitive, like you're backwards. So that second loop actually goes inside. The third one does just like the first one. Then you just start to alternate back and forth. Over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. And then you end up with a very nice cable, and then you wrap it up. And I always put these little Velcro things on mine just so that they stay nice and neat for however long it's going to be stored away. And then when you get done with it, it's going to have a nice unraveling of the cable, and it's not going to be coiled up, and it's going to last a lot longer than if you do it the wrong way. And let me just say, the absolute wrongest way to do this is this. And you'll see guys, especially with a long cable, start to do this, and they think, oh, you know, I do this with my cable, with my extension cord in the garage. You can even see just as me doing that, how bad that looks. And eventually it will damage the cable. All right, so I'm gonna do it over the shoulder so you can kind of see from this perspective exactly what's happening. Again, this connector is facing towards me, okay, in my opposite strong hand. So I'm right-handed, so I'm putting it in my left hand. And I'm taking one loop and looping it over just like that. Then this one, I'm doing the underhand shake. And this is the problem that people have a lot of times is they'll go like this, and then they'll still try to loop over. You have to turn the wrist where your knuckles are straight across like this. If you try to just go over like that, you're doing the same, you get this like weird loop like that. That doesn't work. So you go under the handshake, make sure this gets in, and then I usually take my thumb and just kind of like match it up to the previous loop, the length of it. Then I do the over, the normal way. And sometimes like if on that, it wasn't wanting to turn right, you can see how it's like not wanting to do that because I just messed it up a minute ago. If that happens, just go ahead and let it, give it a little twist, and it'll retrain it back the way it's supposed to be. Just like that. Over, under, over, under, over, under. And then every now and then I'll just kind of even it up like that, and then over. And ideally what I really like to do is have these two ends somewhat close together so that these guys are pretty close together with that. So here you go, there it is. And you know, you can just stack up a bunch of these guys. This is a 50 footer. You know, 50 feet of a cable not wrapped correctly is going to look like junk. Anyway, that's how to properly wrap a cable. And let me just say, take the time to learn how to do this. If you're a sound person, this is an absolute must. And I think if you're any sort of musician, you need to be able to do this because you're always gonna have a cable, whether you're a keyboard player, a guitar player, a singer, whatever the case is, you're always gonna be dealing with some sort of amplification, so you're gonna have some sort of cable that you know how to wrap it up. We were a mobile church for 3 years, which means that every Sunday morning we went into a school and we set up our sound system and then tore it down. We had a huge box filled with cables, you know, all kinds of mic cables and instrument cables and a huge snake. And if we had not done this correctly, we had not wrapped them up correctly every time you go back in to get it out would have just been a jumbled mess. And so it is really important to wrap this up. If you like this video, please like it. Write a comment down below. It really helps with like boosting the rating on YouTube, and I'd really appreciate that. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in another video.